Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Ladies and gentlemen, how is it going? Welcome back to ASAP Recap. Yes, last week we might have had the skeleton crew. This time we got the whole squad on deck. Pride, he is in town. And Dustin, he's back from Florida. Pride, I'm going to get to you in a minute. I need Dustin to tell us all the great things about the state of Florida.
Warm weather, and warm weather.
You forgot warm weather.
Yeah. Forgot the sun. Forgot the sunshine and beaches and baseball and the ocean and not having to come back to 40 degrees and snow.
All right. Well, you're back in 40 degrees and 30 degrees in snow. How you doing today, Dustin?
Tired but good.
All right. Pride, how about you? It feels like I haven't seen you in a hot minute, man.
Yeah, bro. I think it's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Too long. I feel like you'd be ducking me.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's weird.
It's been forever, man. It's crazy. What a time to be alive.
For those of you who don't know, don't get the inside joke. We were on ASAP in the morning, so
Just a
we got to have a little bit of fun. Well, now that the band is back together, baseball is also back. We had opening day take place yesterday. Some crazy games, some high-scoring games taking place. So I'm going to start with you, Pride. Since we have baseball back, everyone's going to, it might be a little bit too early, but you know what? Too early is the name of the game. Who do you got going to the World Series?
So I got the Dodgers making it because I feel like I want the Dodgers to make it just so they can get swept. Because every time Dave Roberts comes out talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna win it this year, something happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, something always happens every time he says we're gonna win it. I don't know why. Bless his heart though. I got the Dodgers coming out, and a sleeper team I have. In terms of the NL is the Padres. I think I really do. I think they're gonna come down to those two teams. In the AL, this is where it gets dicey because in the AL, I think I might get some flack for this, but I think the Braves still have a legitimate chance. I'm just being biased, but I'm throwing the Boston Red
Right, the
Sox
Braves are
in
in the NL.
Braves are in the NL, not the AL.
Not the Braves. What am I talking about? Not the Braves. I meant Seattle. Kids, do not do drugs. This is why I tell you guys, do not do drugs. Seattle. Don't do it, man. But Seattle, I don't know if you guys remember, they were literally, it went down to the final game of the season for them not to make it. I got faith that they're going to get it together. I think they have a legitimate chance. Obviously, everyone thinks the Blue Jays has a legitimate chance because, last year they had a great chance. They got better seasoned. Everyone got a new year. So I'll throw them in there. Obviously, Boston. One team I know for a fact won't make it is the Yankees. They won 100-plus games just losing the wild card. So fuck them with all due disrespect. But if I have to pick one, I think that I got the most faith in the Blue Jays. I have the most faith in them, mostly considering that their best players are getting better. And I don't know, just something tells me I think this is the beginning of them making it. And then now we get to see Vladdy on a consistent stage in terms of the playoffs. Because people are starting to knock him that a little bit. They're starting to knock him, talking about since he's not in the playoffs like that, and who knows, etc., all that stuff. So, if this is probably gonna bite me in the ass because I know for a fact since I say it, it's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna go Blue Jays versus the Dodgers.
All right, Dustin, how about you?
I'm kind of on the same boat as Pride. I think the Dodgers are the most talented team in the National League, and it's pretty much World Series or bust for them at this point every single year. But the Phillies, I think, are a sleeper mainly because when you have a middle of the lineup that features JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, and Didi Gregorius, there's not going to be too many pitching staffs that are going to be able to get through the middle of the lineup 3 times without getting hit in some regard or without giving up damage at some point. So if their pitching holds up, they're one of those teams that I think can surprise a lot of people. But in terms of the American League, I've been on the Blue Jays bandwagon since the second half of last year. They finished 49-22 over like their last 60-plus games, and they were the one team that, heading into the playoffs last year, nobody wanted to see. Yep. So when they missed the playoffs by 1 game, everyone kind of was like relieved that they missed. And now they go and add Kevin Gausman and add other pieces to the rotation, which gave them issues last year. They added to the bullpen, which was a problem last year, and then they go and get Matt Chapman basically to replace Marcus Semien, who they lost, and their offense is not going to miss a beat. When you look at how their offense is constructed, you can argue that it's basically constructed to the same way the 2016 Chicago Cubs offense was constructed when they won the World Series, where you have a bunch of young position players that just go out there and mash the absolute crap out of the baseball, and then you spend free agency buying the starting pitching you needed to compete.
Yeah, I'm on the Blue Jays bandwagon as well. I can't lie about it. When you bring in Matt Chapman, it's a big thing for a team that ended so hot last year. Again, both Boston and New York did not want to see this team going into the playoffs, and when they were out, they were all popping champagne bottles. It didn't matter if they win; they just knew they didn't have to play Toronto. The Red Sox adding Trevor Story to me was a big move to get that guy to go and play basically second base alongside Xander Bogaerts. I think that's a move that's really going to help out Boston this year and basically secure up that infield. But I think got the Blue Jays out of the American League. Out of the National League, this might be kind of I'm a new fan of baseball, trying to learn the game. So this might be a casual take, but I think the Braves get back. And you bring back Ronald Acuna Jr., and I think when you bring him back in, this Braves team that got to the World Series, won the World Series, they have all of the experience. And then, again, Ronald Acuna was arguably the best player in baseball before he tore his ACL. So I'm going to have to go Braves and Blue Jays as we start out this year. That was my pick before it, and even though the Braves lost yesterday, I'm still going to stick with it.
I am with pride on the Mariners, too, as a sleeper, because I think Robbie Ray is going to win the Cy Young this year in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to your point, Aaman, that's really not a casual take because I'm talking about the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are good. They added Jensen from the Dodgers, who,
yes,
as a closer, I like him. Yeah, you lost Freddie Freeman, but you got Matt Olson.
Mm-hmm.
So
Acuna's back, who you didn't have for the playoff run last year.
Right, exactly. So it's like you lost your best player because he was hurt. Now he's coming back. And now your first baseman, who was either your first or second best player, you lose him, but you get Matt Olson, who you could probably make an argument is still the second best player on that team. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't count Atlanta out. I really wouldn't. You know what I mean? Especially as we saw them. It just takes them one little 3-game streak, and all of a sudden they're on fire. You know what I mean? So and what's said about them losing yesterday? I'm not mad. They lost 6-3. I'm not mad at it at all. It's 162 games, 2,951 games. You name me the last team that went undefeated. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's the NBA regular season on steroids, basically.
Exactly.
That's what the MLB season is.
So I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, they lost. We gotta It's game ship. 1. Right. I'm okay. They're gonna win, they're gonna lose. It is what it is. The Boston Red Sox, we got swept last year. We got swept by the Baltimore Orioles. You let me know what happened since then. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So Atlanta's gonna be fine, ladies and gentlemen. I promise they're gonna be fine.
In the words of the famous quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who we love to talk about on ASAP, 5 words or 5 letters, RELAX, right? That's it.
Relax.
That's it. Relax. All right, Pride. But since you're talking about opening day and games that did happen on day 1, was there a result to you that kind of stood out, or a game that just stood out based off the score or what happened in it?
Well, a couple. So first and foremost, Chicago Cubs, congratulations. You guys won. Congratulations.
You thought they were going to lose?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't.
I did because it's Chicago.
I didn't because Corbin Burns is 0-4 on opening day, and Kyle Hendricks is now 3-0 on opening day. They should have had Brandon Woodruff go on opening day instead of Burns.
I would have had
The
Woodruff,
Cubs
but
need a higher stat guy. That's
yeah,
just the solution.
probably. What really one thing that really blew my mind with the Mets, they were able to score more than one run. God bless them, 5-1. God bless them.
I was more surprised they didn't go with Scherzer.
I'm honestly 100%. I was like, whatever, like live your life. Another thing that high-key surprised me, the fact that the Guardians is the legitimate team name. I thought eventually they would pull out of it.
They're not the Guardians.
Yeah, I thought it was a Guard, but Cleveland Guardians is still a thing. So God bless them. God bless them. There's another obvious one, but I think Dustin's gonna say it. I don't want to take it from him.
No, say what you're gonna say because you kind of took mine already.
I did. My bad. The Pirates getting blanked.
No.
That blew my mind a little bit, only because
Pirates are awful.
Okay, hold on. Don't get it twisted.
But getting blanked like that is just
that's what I'm
level.
saying. That's the part that really blew my mind.
When Dan Vogelbach is your leadoff hitter, that shows you the kind of crap your lineup is in before the game even starts.
Right, but you still had guys connecting. Hoy Park, the second baseman Hoy Park, he went 1 for 3. You had somebody go 2 for 3. The first base. So you had guys get on.
The first baseman with the best name on the planet. Are we joking? Pride, the best name on the planet.
Yoshi Tsutsugo.
I wish that was my last name.
Sounds like somebody just took in Smash Brothers.
Oh God, bro. But no, I'm telling you, I don't know. I did not expect them to get blanked by a St. Louis Cardinals team who, let's be fair here, against an Adam Wainwright who is not the same.
I mean, if you look at the score line, though, the Pirates only had 2 bad innings. JT Brubaker gave up 3 runs in the second, and then whoever the Pirates had pitching in the ninth gave up 4 runs in the ninth. Right. So take those 2 innings away, it was a 2-0 game. So the Pirates really didn't play that bad. It was just 2 bad innings.
Which is what I'm saying. Like that's really kind of what blew my mind, especially when you consider Yadier Molina 0 for 4, Albert Pujols 0 for 5. Yeah, Nolan Arenado, who went, he went 1 for 4, right? Whoop-de-doo. But if I'm going to say, I think he was the one who hit the home run. I think he was one, Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, Arenado hit one in the 8th, and then Tyler O'Neill hit one in the 2nd, and Tommy Edman hit one in the 8th.
Yeah, I think one of them was a solo.
Yeah, Edmonds was a solo in the 8th.
Yeah. So, again, like, that's kind of really what it kind of blew my mind. If you look at the score, it's easy to sit there and say, oh, my God, they got destroyed. But if you take a step back and really look at it, they had a few bad innings, which to me was like, now I know that's rough, but it sucks because if they got it together, I think it was the one to Nolan Arenado. I think it was a curve that he hung horribly. It was a horribly hung curve I've ever. Oh my God!
It looked like a beer league softball pitch just coming to the home plate.
At this point, you might as well be playing t-ball and just put the.
If you watch Arenado, he got on his back foot and was waiting for it to just get thrown. He's like, all right, let it rip.
Yo, he knew as soon as he saw it, he put all his weight back and he was like, "On my mother, I'm sending this ball to my mother. Like I do not care." And he really sat back on it, and it was just. But again, and a couple bad innings, and all of a sudden, to Dustin's point, you lose 2-0 to 9-0, and that looks so much worse. So that one, I have to say that, even though I know the Pirates suck,
right?
But
the optics is just,
you know what I mean? It's just 9-0. That's not a good representation of what truly went down the entire game.
Yeah, and I think that's the unfortunate part for Pittsburgh. You look at the scoreboard; it's not really what happened. Dustin, is there any other games that you have looking out there, or did Pride basically take the one?
Well, I'm going to go circle back to the Cubs game for a minute, not because I'm surprised that they won, but I'm surprised at how they won. And all off season long, you heard the Cubs wanted to get away from that home run or bust mentality and kind of go to more of like the patient and contact-oriented approach that a lot of the teams like the Kansas City Royals back in 2015, like what the Tampa Bay Rays had last year, went to. Well, the Cubs brought in the Tampa Bay Rays minor league hitting coordinator to be their new head coach new hitting coach to kind of try to jumpstart that. You had a guy in Corbin Burns pitching yesterday for the Brewers who won the Cy Young last year. He had 34 walks and 234 strikeouts last year. But if you remember his first, I think, 7 or 8 starts, he had no walks and 59 strikeouts before he walked his first hitter last year. He walked 4 batters yesterday. He had 4 walks and 4 strikeouts yesterday. And the Cubs ended up winning 5-3 with a 2-run home run from Nico Horner off of Corbin Burns, and then a 2-run double by Ian Happ in the bottom of the 7th off of Kirk Cousins' cousin, actually. But just that kind of approach that the Cubs showed against Corbin Burns is exactly the approach that the team wanted to focus on this offseason. And if you look at a lot of the pieces they brought in this offseason, guys like Andrelton Simmons, Jonathan Villar, Seiya Suzuki, who had 2 walks and a single in his major league debut yesterday, they signed all these contact first type hitters, and they showed that you don't need to hit a home run all the time. You can score 5 runs a game by being patient, taking walks, and making a starting pitcher work. And I think that was kind of a big surprise that I had, that they go and get a hitting coach from the Tampa Bay Rays system who predicated his offense on patience and just making contact. And after one game against the defending NL Cy Young winner, it seems like the approach that they've been instilling during spring training is really going to pay off for him.
Yeah, I thought it would take a while for that kind of mindset to integrate into that team. Because, again, you talk about just flipping the switch right away is tough. And I know you got spring training and you got all the offseason, but you don't just go from the type of team you were to the type of team you are. Don't just flip the switch like that. It's very hard to do that. And so it was a good thing to see the Cubs do it. And I know Pride was wishing. There's a lot of people in the ASAP group chat that was hoping the Cubs are going to lose and get blown out by the Rays. They wished that they played the car St. Louis, and St. Louis just hung it up on them.
I only do it to just trigger some people. That's it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to. Sometimes you just got to trigger some people.
Of course. You gotta trigger somebody.
Well, baseball is alive and it's back, and I know that makes Dustin very, very happy. But we're going to talk about something that doesn't make a lot of people near me very, very happy. We're going to jump ship into the NCAA Championship game. And if you want to talk about triggering some fans, talk about the NCAA Championship game with a couple UNC fans, and you will know what triggering some fans are. Kansas overcomes the largest deficit of any team to win an NCAA Championship as they knock off number 8 Carolina to win another national title. So, Prime, I'm going to ask you, at halftime of the game, right? There's a lot of people at the UNC camp who thought we got this, and then there's a lot of us who are like, well, it doesn't feel like this is really, like we talked about with the Pirates score. The score is not reflecting what's going on the court. What camp are you kind of on? Were you saying this is going to come back? Or were you thinking honestly that UNC really had this one in the bag?
At first, when I was just looking at the score, I thought you could make an argument that it's over. Mm-hmm. But then again, this is the thought process I was having before halftime was over. I then started sitting back and I thought, you know what? Honestly, Kansas has the ability to not only get hot, but let's be honest, UNC can get freezing cold. So I was like, I would hold your breath for like the first few minutes of the second half to see what happens. Kansas, I think if I'm not mistaken, there was like somebody fact check me. I think it was like a 5-minute stretch where in the second half where Kansas just basically did whatever they wanted to do.
UNC scored, I think, 4 points before
in that stretch.
Kansas tied before Kansas.
Yes. Like a 28-7 run over that 5-minute stretch or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, there was that 5-minute stretch where all of a sudden UNC couldn't do a single thing. And it just felt like Kansas literally could have done whatever they wanted. It literally, for me, when I'm watching it, I felt like these dudes could just chuck it from half court and they'll win. That was just the vibe. And as soon as I personally felt that vibe, I was like, yeah, it's starting to, shift or whatever. Now everyone wants to talk about Armando Bacot, that whole thing with his ankle. And people said that, if you zoom in, and actually it's true, you see the floor, the gym floor kind of dip a little bit. The NCAA supposedly investigated it and said that the floor was put together appropriately. There was no structural issues with it whatsoever. But a lot of people contend this, and I don't disagree with it. If Armando Bacot is still in that game, we're having a whole different conversation. And the reason I believe that is, think about it. He got injured. They put in his replacement. I forgot who they put in for him.
Huff Johnson.
Yes, Huff Johnson. They put in Puff Johnson. And what happened? What was the first thing the Kansas Jayhawks did?
Went right
They
after
attacked him. That was the first thing they did. If Armando's in that game, they don't attack him. They don't attack him, and they're trying to figure out what's the proper play we could run. As soon as they put in Puff, they went at him the first play. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, it's a wrap. It's over. Because at this point, they now found a weak link they're comfortable exploiting. And when they found it, they did what they had to do, and they won. Shout out to Kansas. Again, like you said, the largest deficit, and they gritted their teeth and they kept pushing forward. Period. That's all they did. They refused to give up. North Carolina, you got to wear this one. UNC, you got to wear this one. It's just a shame. Go ahead, Dustin.
Do you realistically think UNC has to wear it though? Because
yes,
I'm on the other side of the fence where that Duke game was their championship. Where anything after that Duke game in the Final Four was kind of, if we win, we win. If we don't, we still beat Duke in the Final Four in Coach K's last game. That's why I
remember we were having this conversation, and I would agree with you if North Carolina didn't have that massive lead in the first half.
Yeah, but at the same time, looking back at that game, I think both of us are going to agree that North Carolina and Kansas played the best of anybody in the tournament from start to finish, which is why they were there. Yeah, Kansas had the scare against Creighton in round 2, but outside of that, like, Kansas played dominant. Well. And after that Creighton game, they got better with every game after that versus North Carolina started so hot, just annihilating Baylor and Marquette right out the gate, and then took down UCLA. You could tell that, like, North Carolina was on a hot streak and kind of getting on the run they were getting on.
Right.
But looking at that first half, North Carolina played great, but Kansas couldn't have played any worse than they played in that first half. And even like that, North Carolina had that big double-digit lead. I don't think anyone expected Kansas to play as poorly in the second half as they did in the first half. So I know a lot of people expected Kansas to make a game out of it just because you had to look at it and been like, well, North Carolina played about as good as they could play. Kansas played about as bad as they can play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And just real quick, and
go for it.
Like I said, for me, the only issue I have, like I said, this is just me. The only issue I have is just the fact that if it was a close back and forth game the whole time, then I agree with you, Dustin. Then it wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? Because you went out and you did what you could. You fought to the bitter end. It didn't go your way, but you can look back and say, hey, we beat Duke. We did what we did. The only reason why I'm saying they have to wear it, with you having a double-digit lead, the largest lead ever, and to somehow, some way, fumble it so bad, like, that's why I personally say they gotta wear it. And I've seen a lot of UNC fans on Twitter saying that the only reason that they lost was solely because of the fact that Bacot went down. And I say this, it's not that, because when Bacot was there, these guys were still going on a run. Yeah, towards the end, Kansas was cooling off a little bit, sure, but they still were within reach. So that's personally why I'm saying they got to wear it. Justin, I do get your side, though, because, again, they beat Duke, which was their white whale. That's what they wanted. As soon as they saw the opportunity, if you asked them, what would you rather do win the championship or beat Duke, they would have said beat Duke easily.
That's why I'm honestly surprised the game was as close as it was against Kansas, because I figured after the way they beat Duke and how much emotion went into that game and just having to take Duke's best punches start to finish for 40 minutes, the way that second half played out, Kansas outscored them like 48-29 in the second half, I think it was, or something like that. That's kind of what I expected the national championship game to be. I thought Kansas was just going to run them right out the building just because I thought North Carolina wasn't going to have anything left emotion-wise and energy-wise.
And I was in that same boat. I had Kansas winning the national championship game because I just thought Carolina, their whole identity was, we're an energy-based team. We're going to outrun you. We're going to out-hustle you. We're going to out just everything you. And We're just going to take it from you. And I just didn't think they had anything left after that Duke game. And really, to me, what was kind of crazy that they were still in it at the end of the game. Okay, Armani Baycock's not in the game. All right, and they hit the big-time shot over Brady Manick. And now you got 10 seconds, basically, to go down, hit a three-pointer to tie the game. I was just so shocked. Not one of the decision not to call a timeout from Hubert Davis. And then also the shot selection. Okay, you take a long fading away three with 9 seconds left. 9 seconds? And then you get the rebound. You're able to push it back out. And then Puff Johnson, you release one with 4 seconds left. And then you get the rebound again, and then it gets thrown away. To me, it was those two shots that just were so boneheaded that if I was Hubert Davis and I got the rebound, I'm saying timeout immediately. I had to draw something up. And they got
I don't think they had any left.
They had one. They had one timeout left because they used it when they had the out-of-bounds play. They used it to draw some other stuff up. So they had one left. And to me,
which is crazy because real quick, just to back you up on that point, a lot of people who were live tweeting the game was confused. Like during that entire scramble, a lot of people were asking, why don't you call a timeout? You have one left, and it's not like you can use it later because
you have 9 seconds.
Exactly, like you're almost out. And let's say you do end up going to overtime, they give you 2 timeouts or something like that?
Yeah,
like 2-3 timeouts. So regardless how many timeouts you have, they give you some. So it's like you might as well just call it now to use it. And I agree with you, Mark. Why that timeout wasn't called? To me, it just seemed like the players in those final 9 seconds, the players and the coaching staff, I think everybody was lost in the moment.
100%. And
I think everyone was lost in the moment.
And I think it's just the youth and experience of Carolina that we don't see out of those other Carolina teams because, again, Roy Williams has been there forever. Dean Smith was there forever. Hubert Davis, he won the Coach of the Year, so you can't knock him for what he did this season because no one expected him to do what he did. But that, to me, was the biggest moment. Yes, Armani Baycott getting out hurts. You drop 25 points in 5 minutes, hurts. But you're in the game. You have a three-pointer, and you have plenty of three-point shooters. You have an opportunity to draw something up for your best three-point shooter in Brady Manick, and you don't give him that opportunity. Yes, on the inbound play, I think it was meant to go to him, and he slipped and fell. I think that's why Hubert Davis immediately ran over to him. But you had the opportunity with 10 seconds left to call your timeout, advance the ball, and set up a play for 10 seconds to draw something up. And to me, I think when UNC missed that, I said the game's over. No matter what happens here, the game is over. UNC's not going to win it because you don't make those kind of mental errors and still win these big-time championship games.
Well, I think the trap they ran into, too, if you watch the last 3 minutes of that Duke game, North Carolina's shot selection wasn't that great against Duke either.
No, it was awful.
Caleb Love fires up 2 3-pointers near the logo and somehow makes both of them. Yeah, and then he tries to do the same exact thing against Kansas, and it doesn't work against Kansas. So it's not like North Carolina played great down the stretch against Duke either. They were just fortunate to get a lot more of the bounces that didn't go their way in this game.
Yeah, 100%. And again, they just fell in. I think Hubert Davis saw the moment, said, you know what, he's going to create this MJ type of shot. They're going to have this picture of him, with the follow-through ball in the air, and it's going to be known as the shot part 2 or whatever. And it just didn't turn out that way. And I think, I'm going to ask Pride this question to you. Do you think UNC now kind of runs the table in the ACC with Mike Krzyzewski leaving, of course, retiring? I know Duke, and I could see Dustin already shaking his head, but Pride, I'm going to start with you. Does this give you a lot of confidence, or at least do you think this maintains UNC's ability to be up top or still continue to be a blue blood school based off what Hubert Davis was able to do in year 1?
Well, so here's the thing. On paper, it's easy to say yes. It really is, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in the ACC, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they were second behind Duke this year.
No, they were third at Miami.
They were third because Miami won the ACC.
Miami got second.
Why is it saying they're second here?
They tied with Miami for second, but Miami had the tiebreaker over them because Miami got.
Tied for Notre Dame. Am I looking at the wrong game?
Oh no, yeah, Notre Dame got second. Yeah, Notre Dame got second.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It says Duke was second. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Duke was second.
No, I'm sorry. Duke was first. It says North Carolina was second. And I guess Notre Dame and North Carolina had the same record, but
Notre Dame beat North Carolina though, so Notre Dame had the tiebreaker in the ACC tournament because Notre Dame had the 2 seed and North Carolina had the 3 seed.
God bless them. But anyway, look, regardless, it's so weird how they have it listed here. God bless them, though. God bless them. I don't think so, and maybe it's just me. I genuinely wholeheartedly believe that right now. I mean, I don't even think it disqualifies Duke. Let's just get that out the way, because again, the guy who's replacing Coach K, John Shire, he's not a guy who they just randomly picked. Like, he's been with Duke, learning under under Coach K, and it's like, I don't think I think it's gonna be a little bit of a transitional period, but I think Duke still runs it because they still have the prestige, they still have the players, they still have all of it. The only difference is now you're not gonna have Coach K, but again, John Shire, he's the one who's been going out the last few years recruiting. He's the one who everyone understands when he goes to draft, like to go to these new recruits. He tells them, look, Coach K's out, but I'm going to be the guy who's going to take over. Like, they already had that whole spiel going. So if North Carolina, let's say, this is what I genuinely believe. During Duke's transitional year, which I think will be next year, I think Duke will either be second or third. There's going to be a whole thing talking about how Duke fell off the planet. They need Coach K, this, that, and third. It's going to be a whole thing. I believe UNC is going to end up being first. They're going to say it's the beginning of a new era. This, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And in 2 years, Duke will be back on top, coasting like nothing ever happened.
All right, Dustin, how about you? You think UNC's reign atop the ACC starts now, or do you think it's going to be kind of similar to what we've seen for maybe the past 20 years?
It's going to be similar just because of what Pride said. John Shire isn't just some guy that Coach K found on the street and said, hey, I'm going to put you in a suit and tie. You're going to take over from me when I leave. John Shire played under Mike Krzyzewski for 5 years because he redshirted his first year. He's been on the bench with him in the 7 years since he's graduated, and he's now been the associate head coach for the last 4 years since Jeff Capel went to Pittsburgh. So Mike Krzyzewski's been molding John Shire for this position for 4 years. In the process, Shire's taken on more of a responsibility each year to the point where he has been their recruiter the last 2 years. Not Coach K, but it has been John Shire the last 2 years running the show. And as things sit right now, Duke has the number 1 recruiting class next year.
Yep.
They have the number 1 player in the country in Derek Lively. They have Derek Whitehead, who I think is number 7 or 8. They have Jaden Shute, who's number 12. They have Kyle Flipkowski, who's 23. They have Mark Mitchell, who's 28, and then they have Christian Reeves, who's like 47. So they have 6 of the top. They have 6 of the top 50 players.
And mind you, to back up Dustin's point, all these kids, they knew that Coach K wasn't going to be there, and they knew they were playing for Shire.
Yep.
So like that's something we also need to clarify too. So it's not like they're hoodwinking these kids. These kids understand Coach K is not going to be there, but we still want to go to Duke.
Yep. And then you have to look at the rest of the roster that Duke has. Outside of Paolo Banchero and maybe Wendell Moore, do you see anybody else on that roster that's going to enter the draft? So legitimately, Duke can pretty much run it back with a lot of the people that started that Final Four game. 7'1" Mark Williams is probably going to come back. Yep. Jeremy Roach had a breakout NCAA tournament.
Yes.
He's probably going to come back, and he's going to be a junior next year.
AJ Griffin
was seen as a lottery pick heading into the season, but because he missed the first half of the year with a knee injury, he'll probably come back and improve his stock. Same with Trevor Keels. Trevor Keels was viewed as a top 10 pick, and then he ended up hurting his ankle in January. He will come back most likely to improve that draft stock. So now you're looking at not only the top recruiting class coming in, but you legitimately have a chance to have 3 starters returning from your Final Four team and 4 major contributors returning from your Final Four team. I don't think they're going to take a step back at all. I think ESPN has them ranked, or not ESPN, CBS has them ranked number 5 right now for like heading into the season next year. Mm-hmm. If all these pieces come back, like if Mark Williams comes back, if Roach and all these pieces come back, I'm not going to be surprised to see Duke enter the season number 1 in the country next year just because they're going to have all that Final Four experience come back. Then you're going to unload all these freshmen coming back, and Duke's going to have arguably the deepest roster in the country next year if all these pieces fall into place.
And, Dustin, I'm going to do you one better. When I saw that, I said Duke's going to win the whole thing. That was my reaction because Now you have the pressure of Coach K's last year basically off of your shoulders. No one's really expecting you to be back up top, right? They'll say they'll still be Duke, but will they be, the best, the Mike Krzyzewski type best? Maybe, maybe not. So now you have all that pressure off. You still have the experience and the knowledge of Coach K in the sense of the players and the head coach he's picked out. I think Duke is still going to be right up top. As pertaining to UNC, I was really impressed with what Hubert Davis did with, honestly, a team that not a lot of people thought would do much, right? There isn't that big name player out of this one, lost a lot of pieces through transfers. Your biggest player was a grad transfer. So when your best player is a grad transfer, it means you did something right as a head coach. So I think that UNC is only going to get better. And I don't think this rivalry falls off too much from the likes of the heydays of Krzyzewski and Dean Smith and Roy Williams. But to your point, Dustin, I think Duke, to me, I think they're going to win the whole thing. I just think everything's kind of set up in the way. You're going to get starters back. You get this recruiting class going. You get the pressure of Coach K's last year off. The expectations are a little bit lower. I think this team is going back to the Final Four, and I think they're there to win it. But we have to wait until next year.
Does anybody remember where the Final Four is next year?
Who cares?
It's in Indianapolis, where Duke has 4 of their 5 national championships.
Well,
so hold on. Wait a minute. Aaman, you think in his first year, Shire gets his team to a championship?
Hubert Davis did it in his first year.
No. But you're not. You're not listening. You're not trying to get my point. Just
I get your point. Shire's going to have more talent than what Hubert Davis has.
No, that's not the point I'm making. If he does that, do people look at Coach K a little differently now?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because Shire's been his right-hand man for 4 years, and every year Coach K has been giving him more responsibility.
No. I'm not talking about from that perspective.
If you watch a lot of
as an outsider looking in, his first year with all this talent, and he wins it, don't you think there's going to be some people out there saying Coach K really wasn't that good? It was a talent carrying him.
I have a question. The 49ers, who was their head coach when they won those Super Bowls in the 80s?
Good point.
Bill Walsh, right? Who won the last Super Bowl for them? Who was their head coach for the last 2 that they won? Bill Walsh. And does anyone discredit Bill Walsh?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
The only thing that I think people
Bill
are
Walsh
going
got retired, and then the next coach came, and then literally that year
they
won.
They did
with the new coach.
Yeah, they went back to back
with Bill Walsh. You said
no. Bill Walsh won in 83, and then 88 he won. He won 3. So whatever they did in the early 80s,
83, 88, and 89. I think Walsh won, and then
that's the repeat.
Walsh won 89.
Yeah, he was there for the repeat.
Yeah,
because remember it was the whole thing he wrote out on top.
No, I thought
fact check me. Somebody fact check me. Look up fact check because I'm saying it, but the more I say it, the more I feel wrong.
That's what I thought. I thought the new head coach had won the 89 chip.
Nah, I could have sworn that was
Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh won 3 Super Bowls with the 49ers
back before he went out.
He won.
Let's see.
Hold on, what is this? I gotta hate Roman numerals. He won Super Bowl 16, Super Bowl 19, and Super Bowl 23. So he didn't have any.
And then 24 was the new guy.
Yep, 24 would have been the new guy.
Right.
Okay, so you're right. So
that's what I'm saying. You really don't look at Bill Walsh any differently, right? Because so I don't think it affects his legacy. That's cool. If Mike Krzyzewski only won 1 and then never won another one, and then John Shire in his first year wins 1. That's something different. But I think
if you go back and watch the Final Four really close and not pay attention to the product that's on the court, but kind of pay attention to the stuff around it, who was coaching the Final Four game for Duke?
If I'm mistaken, it was Shire.
Yeah. Mike Krzyzewski was not doing very much in that game up until those final couple minutes. He let John Shire pretty much coach that entire Final Four game on his own. So the fact that not only was Shire thrown into the fire, basically, obviously Mike Krzyzewski still has the top say in it because he's still there. But the fact that Mike Krzyzewski basically said, "You're taking over next year. This is your team pretty much now. You want to do you at this point." Shire's already got the big game experience. He knows what he knows what went wrong against North Carolina towards the end. He knows what he needs to do to improve, and he knows that if he gets these pieces back, what he can do differently to make something happen, because he's, I think, filling in for Coach K is like 9-2 or 10-2 as a coach. So it's not like hasn't even coached in Coach K's absence, because Coach K missed 12 games the last couple of years and Shire did very well filling in for him. And a lot of that is because these are the players that John Shire has been bringing in the last couple of years, because he's been on the recruiting trail. So next year, realistically, it's not a Coach K team anymore. As much as like John Shire was in charge of the recruiting the last couple of years, this was still the team that Coach K wanted this year.
Mm-hmm.
Next year's John Shire's team. It's 100% the people that he's brought in. It's 100% the recruits that he's brought in. And if Jeremy Roach, Mark Williams, and these guys come back, it's because they're coming back to play with John Shire. So it will be exactly the team that he wants to put in place.
Yeah, I like Duke's chances to go ahead and win it. But speaking of one historically great coach,
right, Kyle Schwarber just went to the moon, by the way, in his very first at bat with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
Pride is so
and he's batting leadoff. And
okay, all right.
And he actually hit it 464 feet.
Oh, how many? How far did he hit it?
464, bounced off the second deck and came back to the first deck.
I promise you they lose.
Well,
I don't care if they lose. I just think it's funny how they're putting him in the leadoff role in Philadelphia.
Nah.
Pride's ready to move on. Pride's ready to
go. I'm salty. Hold on.
Hey, I'm salty too. The Cubs never should have got rid of him in the first place.
Oh, they're for the Athletics? Oh, yeah. That congratulations. He got one home run, and guess what? That's the only thing he's going to get.
Oh, well.
Why'd you leave me?
Well, a player who hasn't left us is Tiger Woods. He is back playing in the Masters and had a pretty decent day on round one. Finished 1 under through the day, a really good round after 508 days without playing any competitive golf. But it's got off to a shaky start off today. He is +4 on the day, +3 in total. He's tied at 40th through 7 holes. Currently, the leader is Danny Willett, who just grinds my gears because he stole the 2016 Masters from Jordan Spieth after Jordan went into the water 3 times at number 12. Screw Amen's corner. Danny Willett has played 9 holes. He is currently 4 under. Dustin, I'm going to start with you. I know Tiger's way down in there, but do you just see a way Tiger can – the cut right now, the projected cut is at +4. Do you see a universe where Tiger Woods goes and wins this 86th rendition of the Masters?
I do see a universe that he will, mainly because of the weather conditions that everyone has to play in today. If he can at least make the cut, which I still think he's going to do, even though he's at the cut line right now, but I do think he makes the cut today. But even the people that had good rounds yesterday did not have great rounds today.
Mm-mm.
So let's just say he goes 2 under the rest of the way to finish 2 over par. And the leader, like you said, Willett right now is sitting at 4 under.
Don't you dare.
He would be 6 under with 2 rounds left. We've seen Tiger Woods make up 5 strokes in 6 holes. So 6 under for him is nothing that is going to bother him because he's made up that kind of ground before. He made up 6 strokes the last time he won the Masters. He was down 6 strokes with 21 holes to go, closed the gap to 4 holes heading into that final round, and then ended up winning by 2 strokes. So, I mean, he's not going to worry about it. I just think, because they said the weather conditions the next 2 days, it's supposed to be around 80 degrees down there tomorrow with very little wind, and then Sunday is supposed to be in the 70s with very little wind also. As long as he can make the cut and kind of put himself in that position, he does have a chance to win, because we saw how he looked yesterday when the weather conditions were much better than what they were today. So I do think he just needs to get through the conditions today to set himself up.
Pride, how about you? Do you see Tiger Woods able to get back the ship on the right course and see himself up to number 1 and hoist another green jacket?
First and foremost, we're beating the Yankees 4-3, so you can do me a favor, Aaman. You too, Damien. Lick my nuts. So you want to throw that out there. Now, Tiger Woods. I'm gonna say yes. Again, like Dustin said, the weather's gonna be a factor. People who had great outings yesterday, all of a sudden look odd today. And you're not gonna tell me it's because they fell off a cliff. It's not gonna tell me because they're trash. It's the weather. I think Dustin, I think you said this, or somebody said this morning. And it's true. Whoever came out first really was handed a great hand, so to speak, because
Schwartzel shot on -3 for his round today,
Yep.
but his first 15 holes he was -5. His last 3 holes he was +2 because that's when the wind picked up. So like he got out before that wind came through, and he was like crushing it. And then once the wind came through, it's like, oh crap, now we got to play a different line.
Right, but again, like you said, as soon as he was able to just get on out. Right now, you said the projected cut is 4 over.
4 over.
So, and again, that's exactly where Tiger Woods is at. So I think it'll be fine. I think by the end of the day, the cut ends up to +5. That's what I think. Everyone's it's sloppy. I've been watching it a little bit, and I've seen people on the green. I've seen them putt.
The putting's been unbelievable with the wind. It's just been unreal.
It's like, what
do you
the
see?
hell?
Do you see a scenario? And I don't think this has ever happened before. And I'm not saying it's going to happen if like Tiger Woods fell to like -10 or something. But do you see a scenario if the cut line is what Tiger finishes?
Say that one more time, Dustin.
Do you see a scenario where the cut line is wherever Tiger finishes?
Yeah,
obviously not if he goes like 5, not if he goes like 8 or 10 over. But let's just say he goes 6 over.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. I think.
Do you think they'll still let? Do you think they'll let him in and just be like, well, you know what? You're trying to make this comeback. We'll just make the cut line 6 over.
I believe in my heart that if it's for Tiger Woods, they will stretch to 7, and I think people won't really get too mad. I think once you start going to 8 and above, you're stretching it. You go if you go +10. There's gonna be riots. Let's just.
Oh no, that's what I said. I think
call it riots. It's just old people going.
I think +6 would be the max. But if Tiger Woods like fell on that +6 mark,
yes,
I think they would be like, well, we're gonna change the cut line to +6 because we want to see if Tiger can complete this comeback as opposed to just being like, well,
and that's why I said I think they're gonna change the cut to +5 because I think what they're gonna want to do is I don't think they want to make Tiger the cut line. I think they want him to be one ahead. You know what I mean? Like, because the optics look better for that. You see what I'm saying? Which is why I believe they're going to end up, trying to sneak him in one more. So let's say he ends up with a 4. That's why I think the cut lines end up going to be 5. So that way they can say, oh, look, Tiger was one ahead, all that stuff. I do agree with what Dustin said. This weekend in Augusta, it's projected to be absolutely beautiful. It is the ideal conditions for golfing. The wind, the little times you have wind, it's a gentle breeze. It's nothing ridiculous. It's nothing absurd or anything like that. If Tiger Woods makes that, because let's be fair here, Tiger Woods is struggling, but I don't think it's because of Tiger Woods. I think the wind conditions have a lot to play into it. Because there are times, I don't know if you saw it, there was one of them, he swung once and it landed in the crowd.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it, but that maybe it's just me. To me, it looked like the wind took it. I could be wrong, Aaman. I could be, you know more than me. So maybe, Tiger Woods just got an off angle. But to me, it looked like the wind really took it. So, again, if he's surviving, he makes the cut in these conditions. This weekend, I think he has just as great a shot as anybody. Heck, maybe even more because, again, this is Tiger freaking Woods. So, but yeah, to win it all, I give him a legitimate chance. I really do.
Yeah. Look, wherever Tiger Woods is, as long as it's not absurd, the cut line is going to be there at the very minimum. Because I don't know if anyone saw the pictures of his practice round. Hole 18 was filled up like it was Sunday with the last pair, basically tied going into it, and they were competing for it. So Tiger Woods brings in ratings. To him winning, I think he still can. I think for him, it's about how he finishes today. I will want to see him around even. If he can get back to even, I'll be very happy with where Tiger Woods is because as you get into, there's less wind on it. Tiger gets to play the conditions a little bit less and just worry about the iron play. And what's giving me a lot of hope is what Dustin Johnson did today. He is one of the premier drivers of the golf ball in all the PGA Tour. He did everything except drive the ball today. He drove it three times.
He's been avoiding it, and you can tell. He's not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Usually when you see him, he'll pick up a driver, and you'll see
he hasn't even touched his driver yet. He's going with a 3-wooder or something. He hasn't even touched his driver yet.
Because the thing is, he'll touch his driver, and he's looking like, can I? Yeah, let's give it a shot. He's been looking at the driver, and he's just like,
nope, not today.
No. Yeah,
he's just not doing it. And that gives me a lot of hope for Tiger, because that's what's going to bother me with Tiger Woods is, can he keep up the driving? How well can he do it? The short game's been very good. What he's done with the 5 irons around the green, phenomenal. So I think, can he finally hit some putts? He's struggled a little bit. He's played a lot of good lag ones, but hasn't really connected on them, hasn't read the break a lot. The wind obviously plays a little bit of a factor in it. He can definitely do it. If there's anyone that I'm going to put my money on to do it, it'd be Tiger Woods. But as I've seen right now, Dustin Johnson to me looks like to me is going to win this whole thing, because as we said, Saturday and Sunday are going to be so nice. The way his short game is right now, if he is able to start driving the golf ball, these par fives, he's going to get some eagles on there. And when you can get eagles on par fives at Augusta, you're going to be a problem and a force to be reckoned with. He's played well with the irons. And when he's on with the irons, when the driver gets going for Dustin Johnson, it's not going to be an issue. So I know Willett's up there. I know Schwartzel's up there. And I know Arnold Varner's up there. Arnold Varner III, ECU grad, so North Carolina boy. But again, Dustin Johnson, if he gets the driver out, let the big dog eat, it's going to be a problem for everybody else on Sunday and Saturday. But can Tiger Woods win it? If he gets back to even, he's going to be right back up there in contention.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. 100%. Yeah. And we're going to have probably time for one last topic, and it's going to be about Brian Flores. Of course, Brian Flores has a lawsuit against the NFL. He is now an assistant defensive coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a lawsuit against the NFL. And we saw 2 new coaches join the lawsuit. We had Steve Wilkes, who was a former coach for the Arizona Cardinals, and he coached the Arizona Cardinals, right? I'm not making that up.
Steve Wilkes was there for 1 year, I think.
Right, the year before they got, I think, Bruce Arians.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury, right, between Arians and Kingsbury. And then Ray Horton also joins the Brian Flores' lawsuit against the NFL. So, Pride, going to start with you. What does this do for Brian Flores to have 2 of these guys be added into the lawsuit?
Well, this is something that everyone thought was eventually going to happen, right? Like, as soon as he did that, everyone was just like, it's not a matter of when. It really was a matter of who was going to end up coming and basically backing him up. Ironically enough, you had the 2 coaches, especially for me, the Steve Wilkes one, is actually, in my opinion, kind of the most damning one, because they brought him on and then immediately canned him for Cliff Kingsbury. Now, obviously, let's look at it from the optics point of view, right? Just from the optics, right? You're bringing a black coach to immediately fire him and replace him with a white coach who's never been in the NFL before.
And it was a first-year head coach who typically a first-year head coach struggles, and he hasn't had an opportunity to coach since.
Right. So if you look at through those optics, it looks rough. Really does. Again, in my opinion, I never thought they had a reason to get rid of Steve Wilkes. I never thought they had a legitimate reason. Again, to each their own though. I'm still waiting to hear, because they never ever, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but the Cardinals never gave a reason on why they got rid of him. They never did.
They just said they parted ways for mutual differences.
Yeah, that's really it. And then Ray Horton,
which is the cheap way to say we just don't want him here.
Exactly. That's the pussy way of saying it. Ray Horton, according to him, he was part of a sham interview process when he interviewed for the Titans head coaching job. It says here that he said it back in 2016. He said that the Titans only interviewed him to fulfill the Rooney Rule requirement. And then I guess supposedly, it's supposedly Malarkey. Mike Malarkey was told before they interviewed Ray Horton that he was the head coach.
Yep.
And they basically and mind you, this is not speculation or conjecture. If it's a lie, Mike Mularkey told it. If Mularkey's speaking Mularkey, then it's on him.
Right.
But he's the one who's saying he was told that he was going to be the head coach before they went with the Rooney Rule. And he said, he's like, and this is an exact quote. And so I sat there knowing I was the head coach in 2016 as they went through this fake hiring process, knowing a lot of coaches that were interviewing, knowing how much they prepared to go through those jobs, knowing that everything they can do, knowing that everything they could do, and they had no chance to get that job. That to me, in terms of the optics, the Arizona Cardinals one is damning. But the mere fact that Mike Mularkey, the recipient of that 2016 job, came out and said, this was a sham. They gave me the job and they only interviewed Ray Horton only because of the Rooney Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start getting into that, once you start working your way up to that type of situation, now, I'm not a genius, right? I tell people this all the time. If you ask me what 1 + 1 is, I got to get a calculator, and I'll still tell you 3. Mike Mularkey ain't a brother. Last time I checked, he was white. Last time I checked, he's Caucasian. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
So for him to come out and say this, him being a white coach who's a recipient of this, for him to, because usually the coaches keep their mouth shut on this. They usually do. Like Cliff Kingsbury, if you ask him about the whole state of thing, he keeps his mouth shut. He won't keep his mouth shut. Why? Because he's glad he's benefiting off of it. The fact that Mike Mularkey came out and said, look, bro, there's some shiesty stuff going on here. If that is not a damning piece of evidence, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. When the recipient of the job is telling everybody, oh, yeah, no, it was fake. They never had a chance, and they promised, they told me I had the job. Yep. That tells you all there is to know. And you ready to hear the funny part? Brian Flores is still going to lose. That's the sad, sad part of it all.
Well, is he really going to lose, though?
I think he is.
I think he's going to lose in terms of maybe never coaching as a head coach again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm talking about the grand scheme of things.
I think he wins because I think this opens the door for all these other African coaches and minorities to become coaches. So, yes, he may not win on a side of he might not get a head coaching job again, but he's going to win in terms of what he did helped all the other minority coaches get the ultimate goal of being a head coach, being looked at as an equal, being in a fair hiring process.
Well, this is a funny statement that Damien put in. So Adam Schefter apparently tweeted out that one of the reasons why he got fired, he as in Steve Wilkes, from the Cardinals was because he wanted to draft Josh Allen and they wanted Josh Rosen. Well,
I guess you could say it's a similar situation to why Flores got fired in Miami, though.
Yeah.
Flores didn't want
very imagey. Yeah, 100%.
Tua wanted to, or Brian wanted to stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick that first year during Tua's rookie year because Tua was hurt, and they were winning with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he didn't want to take Ryan Fitzpatrick out because Fitzpatrick was playing well. And then last year, he was not sold on Tua and wanted Deshaun Watson. And the owner said, no, I drafted Tua. We're sticking with Tua. If that's the case with Wilkes, it's the exact same situation where Wilkes wanted Allen, but the owner's like, nope, we want Rosen. We're going to take Rosen, and you're going to have to just deal with it.
And also, Flores wanted Herbert and not Tua, right? So it's the same kind of situation in there. I think what this Mularkey soundbite does is it kind of makes it less speculatory, right? I think a lot of people are like, so what proof do you have? Like, do you have anything, or is it just like a feeling? And again, I think a lot of it comes from some of it comes from innocent place, and some of it comes from this place of you just want to make an excuse. Right. And now there is none of that anymore, because here's a guy who got the head coaching job saying this is what they told me, and he's going to go on public. It's not like he said this to a secret source. He said this on a podcast live so everybody in the world could hear it. He knew he was going to get clipped for this, and he did. So now you got to take it seriously. So I think this lawsuit is now where Brian Flores wins the lawsuit. But to your points, it sucks because he was an amazing head coach. He won with a quarterback he didn't believe in, a bad roster, a bad ownership, and he
won with an owner that wanted him to lose on purpose.
Exactly, and that's not possible in the NFL. You don't win, and he won consistently and brought him to the brink of the playoffs consistently. So this guy we know can coach, and it's a shame for the NFL that he's not going to probably not going to ever get another spot.
Just real quick, so you remember when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The Academy has just banned Will Smith from attending for 10 years.
Wow. And all of his projects were just put on hold as well.
Well, not all of his projects.
Most of them. I think there's a couple independent ones
Netflix took his projects off. He only had one movie scheduled to come out in 2022, and that one is still coming out. But the only thing that he really lost they kicked him out of the Academy, which I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yep.
So, he's no longer allowed to vote on Oscar-winning performances and things like that, but people can still vote on his performances because he's still going to be an actor and he's still going to be making movies.
No, they can't vote for him on that.
No, they said they can vote for his work.
No, I'm talking about with this one, with him being banned from being there or whatever. He's basically banned from the Oscars and
they can still vote. They can still vote on his stuff. He just can't attend.
No, they can't. They banned him for getting recognized for it.
Oh.
Yeah, bro, they went balls deep on him.
Jeez. Well, also some news. Tiger Woods just made a birdie on number 8, so now he is 2 over on the day.
Which again, climbing up in the right place.
I said as long as he gets to even.
I was about to say this too when we were talking about that. All Tiger Woods needs is one of his Tiger moments.
Yep.
Whether it's a Tiger shot or just a run of a couple birdies here and there, and then all of a sudden he'll get on that run again.
If he gets back to even or 1 under, Willett just made a bogey, so the leader's in at 3 under right now. And
he's good.
That's what I'm saying. And if he gets to even or 1 under, he's back like this because the scores aren't getting to 8 under based off the weather conditions. Everyone who thinks is going to get to 8, 10 under, that's not happening until you get to the weekend. Today is all about getting to even.
It might not even happen this weekend either because they were only 3 under yesterday.
Yeah, but the weather conditions will be a lot better. I think the wind kind of picked up yesterday as well.
That's a good shot.
So again, if you get to even 1 under, if you're at 2 under, you have an opportunity to win this whole thing. So Tiger, as long as he keeps coming and gets around even, he's going to be in the thick of it because again, if people are still playing today, the only person still playing is Willett, and he's not going to get past 4 under. That's just that's the whole case of it.
But to your point, real quick, I want to go back to Malarkey. Mm-hmm. That soundbite is going to be played
100%
a lot. It's you know what I mean. It's going to be, like I said, if that's not a damning piece of evidence, I don't know what I don't know what would be. I don't know what is. But I'm telling you, man, I don't think he's gonna win. In terms of him getting a job again, I don't think he's going to because I think the NFL is gonna put a bad stigma on him.
He basically made his bed and now he's got to lie in it pretty much. And I think that's
right. He said he was okay with it too, right? Yeah. Like when he first said, he said, "Look, I know I'm not gonna I probably won't get another job, but this is bigger than me. It's for everybody else to follow."
Yep.
Right. So
if you're willing to sacrifice, you know what, do your thing, and you know what, he's in the right frame of mind to be doing this. But that's all the time we have on ASAP Recap. Make sure you keep tuning in on the Masters. Make sure you keep tuning in with what the Phillies are doing over in the MLB, because I know Pride is checking that score constantly to make sure that there isn't another homer being hit by the leadoff man. And Pride's giving me the stare of don't ever come back on this show ever again. This is my show. He's saying I'm the captain now, basically, with those eyes.
Hey, Pride, if it makes you feel any better, you get to see Kyle Schwarber once a year against the Boston Red Sox every year.
Every time he comes up, I want him to get hit. I don't care.
Dustin Pride ain't never coming back to the show after what we're doing.
Bro, ever. Fuck the Yankees scored. I hate my life.
Well, that's how Pride's feeling at the end of it. Dustin, any last words for the people?
No, just thanks for filling in for me last week, Pride. I know.
I didn't fill in, bro. I fell
what?
asleep.
What happened last week? I missed this.
Joe did. You gotta thank Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe, for filling in for me last week. I have no idea what did I miss now.
I knocked
Oh,
out.
man.
I died.
That was crazy. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to ASAP Recap right here Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, every single Friday. And we'll see you back here next week. And until next time, be safe, y'all.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.